Yeah, what came to mind when you were saying that is the belief that you can get better, I think might be a prerequisite here. The easiest way to get someone's back squat better, if I got a year, is, 3x10 for a long time, and then 4x8 for a long time, and then 5x6. You work your way down. You give them a ton of volume, and then you try to tackle their central nervous system. It's not challenging to write as a coach, but when you give that to someone who doesn't believe that they're going to get stronger and they don't have the confidence, they don't execute on it. If you gave someone that was already strong that program, they would eat that shit for fucking breakfast, lunch, and dinner and come out the other side stronger. When we're talking about action items, action steps for, okay, I see this in myself, I'm willing to admit that. What can you actually do? You can walk into the gym and let your confidence as a person bleed into other areas. How did you get so good at another thing and also believe that you can't get good at this thing with a similar amount of hard work, but just turning the confidence up how you would with anything else? Good morning, Misfits. You are tuning into another episode of the Misfit Podcast. Ted on the beat, the Goon Squad.
Boy.
On the track, on the mics. Did I get that right?
On the track, I think, is the hip way to say it.
No, I think Ted's on the track and we're on the mic, right?
I would think
Isn't
so, yeah.
that the terminology?
He's the one spinning
I'm going to need...
Ted's on the tables.
I don't know that you are the right person
I don't.
here
You gotta tell
for
a
this
story,
topic.
right?
So we have a few stories. He doesn't know
Okay.
who Pharrell is, first and foremost, but we've brought that up before. And then he was pretty sure he came up with the name Gnarls Barkley here about 30 minutes ago.
I'm done the podcast.
And then when I told him that it was a rap group, all he had to say was, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Luckily, though, when I played the song Crazy, which I'm guessing is one of the top 100 songs ever, he knew what it was.
It's like Hey Ya
So-
in the gym. I've only heard Hey Ya about 20 million times.
Basically. So, I've got the excuse, but then I'm feeling good. All right. So I'm not feeling good, but I've had too much caffeine.
But he's feeling good.
Okay. So we'll see what goes. And because you lose so much, even though we had an even 152.8 tie last time, you have to go first.
158.2, right?
No, I wish.
137.6, crushing like always.
Oh my goodness. I
Sheriff's
don't
hamstring's got his
understand
HRV down there.
how it's possible.
Slippery. It's slippery.
How much do you weigh?
I don't know. A couple pounds.
146.
210?
I'd say just under, yeah.
Just under 209.9. He deadlifts 500 for 5. And
Yeah, with one hamstring.
Tears the shit out of his hamstring. All right, so let's get this over with real quick. If I'm in the 130s.
Do I even
the
need
podcast
to,
is
do I
over.
even need to play? Can I just do this?
Yeah, you got to
let
try to
someone
get to 180 like Cody. You got to beat
Yeah, you haven't got the all-time score.
161.
Wow.
You better try, kind of, or you're going to lose.
Is that a high score? Can I? Wait, I'm going to...
I've been in the 160s before, but I don't remember. Okay, so take notes. 161.
Carry the one.
PR.
Should I just try to beat you with as little effort as possible?
Bro, I will...
Man, I hope he loses.
You're fired.
Oh, wow. 165.4.
Did you try?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This fucking
I wouldn't
guy.
say that was maximal effort, but that's pretty low for me. That's high
So
score. What do you
we have
I know you're training.
we have an update. Well, actually, this also plays into you saying that I'm training. How long ago was it that we had those sketchy pegboards at our old gym? It's been a while. 6 years? 5 years? 6 years? Somewhere in that range. So day one.
Did you get back on the horse?
Day one, it's essentially like who can show off and get up the thing. Has absolutely nothing to do with fitness. It's just a new toy that
Who wrestled in high school.
Right. So first try, I make it to the top. I quite literally punched myself in the face, pulling the peg out to go back down from the top. So that was 12 feet high, 13, 14, definitely over 10 feet. Yep. Like considerably over 10 feet.
And then fell.
I punched myself in the face,
into the rig.
potentially the hardest I've ever been punched in the face.
Yeah.
And fell from the top about, 7 or 8 feet away from the wall and landed on my, the back of my head and my neck. It was completely fine.
On the gymnastics mat?
On
horse
the
He
stall
had
lever?
Big Blue underneath him.
On
but
the
Big
gym
Blue
floor.
did not save him.
I went past Big Blue. I shot
Big Blue
out
is-
further
is
than Big
smaller
Blue.
than 7 to 8 feet. Okay.
Big Blue's huge.
Not that huge.
I have physically not been able to climb the pegboard since.
Have you tried?
Yes,
Sounds mental
yeah,
to me.
like, well, obviously, Jesus, like,
Don't be a bitch.
so I just couldn't get over that there was a pretty good chance that I was going to fall off of this thing again.
Right.
Yesterday, I just randomly decided to start climbing it, and now that I know how to coach it, I know how to do it. So I made it about halfway up and remembered that I have an elbow injury, and it hurt quite a bit.
Yep.
So I can climb the pegboard again.
That's
I
good.
Still
think.
hurts. Differently.
My elbow is very upset with me. Sherb, on the other hand, I think yours story is worse. Sherb tore his
Muscle up
hamstring,
story? Oh.
lighter.
We'll say that for another day.
We would call it what, a grade. The first
8.
one.
So
The first one wasn't that bad.
They told me based upon my symptoms that it was probably somewhere between a 1 and a 2 grade. And 2 grade is like you're in a bruise, but you don't need surgery or anything like that. But you're gonna be banged up for like 4 to 6
Let's
weeks.
call it a 1. Sherb gets very excited after CrossFit competitions because he looks out on the floor and still has that like burning desire, like, man, if I train pretty hard, I could go out there and fucking throw it out with these people.
Potentially.
And he's not wrong, but he comes back with his still partially torn hamstring and decides to deadlift 500 pounds 4 reps. Am I getting
it was
is
for
any of
5.
this wrong?
No, it's for 5. It was a little less
Now-
than 500, but not much.
He has definitely
deadlift.
upgraded to a
Congratulations.
Grade 2.
Nice work.
Yeah, usually
Yes.
upgrades are a good thing. This would be a good thing this time.
This is not like upgrading to first class. This is like
about the same thing.
upgrading to having to be in a suitcase underneath.
Now
steerage.
both ends of your hamstring have a solid bruise.
Yes.
Yeah, that looks good. You know, I was
he's-
trying to be symmetrical top
both
and bottom.
insertions. So you could probably reach in there and just like pull out.
so by default,
your
you're probably
hamstring.
doing the best out of the three of us.
Congratulations.
Oh, although
Congratulations.
I was walking out of the what we call the STA clubhouse next door and saw him get up off the ground this morning in what was a display of either
I
geriatric.
just finished stretching
Like-
and like I was on my ankles and they're tight.
He had
okay?
to
Like,
use the foam roller as a cane, and you would have thought
I've seen
he
him coach that way,
either did assault bike sprints or was 73 years old.
It was basically
Those are the
the same thing.
only choices. Turns
might
out
be-
he did fasted cardio, should have had more blood flow, should have felt better, should have been able to stand up.
I did feel better, guy. My ankles were I was sitting in a saddle pose for like 3 minutes. Okay, they were tight.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm sad I missed it. I didn't get here to see that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting.
in case you missed it, and in case your YouTube is performing the way mine is, you might not have noticed that the vlog is back. The original, the OG Good Morning Misfits. We had obviously an amazing time at the Granite Games, and we talked about that in the previous 2 podcasts, but we have now that like old school, the Misfits are on the road. It's your, variety show of us being serious and then not serious and basically everything in between. So if you want a behind the scenes look at what it's like when we travel, what the competition is like, and sort of like you go into a vlog with hoping you're telling a specific story, and we, spoiler alert, the things that, were sort of put out there came to fruition. And that's always exciting just from the standpoint of storytelling and how that goes. So YouTube, Misfit Athletics, the vlog is there. For some reason, it doesn't serve me that content anymore. I don't know why. I don't understand. YouTube, you are listening because you're always listening and because this is on
They're in
YouTube.
here right now.
Please help. Steve Bezos, we're going to need you to put our YouTube channel in your rocket to the fringes of space.
I let my mom watch the vlog, and the only thing she had to ask was, "Why do you pick your nose on camera?" I said, "I don't know. It's just who I am." I'm glad you enjoyed it,
What the
Mom.
people want.
Lovely. We're also in week 1 when this podcast is published. It will be week 2 of Comp Block 3, and there's already been some doozies. and
There's a huge treat in week 3. I'm so excited for.
Week 3?
Something we've been talking about doing for a very long time.
supposedly the worst workout ever done if you're in shape. If you're in good shape, if you're in good shape, this is supposedly the worst workout ever written. Hunter, don't say it.
I believe it's day 3, week 3.
It's in the conditioning 3 column. It may or may not be 3 rounds of something.
There it is.
Yes, there it is.
She's a beaut.
Keep your eyes out.
People are going to be
for
so
that.
disappointed when they log on and see that.
Oh, it's going to be so exciting. Oh.
Also, based on the open,
we're going to need to block out the day to help Carolyn Austin, huh?
very true.
Ugh.
You threw me off. We're also making a video, public service announcement for your dumbbell front rack position.
It's a personal attack at me. I feel it.
God, it's fucking embarrassing.
It's crazy that a community that is so obsessed with efficiency can still put professional athletes on the floor, and the excuse of I can't get into that position does not apply to enough people for what we see out there on the floor. So make sure if you are terrible at dumbbell push press, dumbbell thrusters, all that jazz, anything essentially where you need to go quarter extremity with dumbbells from your shoulder to overhead, keep your eye on that, because like for me personally, like I'm literally better at this movement than Sherb.
Truth.
And how you could extrapolate that from our fitness and strength levels is just not right.
Watching people at the Granite Games let the dumbbells slide off their shoulders made me think of like the perfectly well-intentioned affiliate athlete who's learning to push press and their hands are like touching and they're trying to grip the barbell with like their fingertips and
I call it the claw.
and they're pressing the push press off of like the middle of their chest. And you know inherently, like as a coach or an athlete, like, oh, you should put it on your shoulders so that your hips are doing the work. It's like, nah, I'd rather just hold something under tension for 5 minutes and make sure my wrists and forearms want to kill me.
So you could either wait for that video to come out, or you can head to our YouTube channel and just watch Hunter v. Sherb in any dumbbell workout. And you'll see what you should probably try to do.
You in a dumbbell workout? Like literally any, other than the deadlift one that we did randomly on like a Wednesday?
That doesn't count.
Sure it does.
Did you beat him in the step over workout that you guys made look terrible, that everyone trolled on you?
I tried so hard to catch him at the
I
end.
got him by like 20 or 30 seconds. So it was close, but
Fuck
Oh,
that
you went out
workout.
hot too, didn't you?
both
You went
did.
out
Both
hot,
did.
just holding those dumbbells out. I
them
mean,
in your
you did
pocket.
win. You tried harder.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
If only we could measure that metric.
Yeah.
what's the dumbbell? Was there a dumbbell thruster open workout yet? No, we did a open
yet.
simulation workout with thrusters. No.
Trusters.
Sure.
Thrusters.
All right. Topic of the day is how patience can lead you to improving upon certain things within the CrossFit space. And this is a fascinating topic to me. There is a musing already. Hard work is patient-ish patient. And one of my 35 lessons from 35 years is hard work is patience. And the reason why I'm so fascinated by it is because we see so many athletes who point A to point B work hard. So we could be calling this August to February, whatever, the quote unquote off season. They work very hard, but they kind of bounce around in what they're doing. They get the idea that I want to get better at this thing, and then they don't necessarily see it through. So that side of it, to me, I don't really know what to call that, because a lack of patience sometimes insinuates that you've maybe given up altogether or something. Whereas these people do work hard the whole time, but it might not be the most intelligent path to get somewhere. So you can get super upset about a specific movement, time domain, energy system, whatever it is, during the open, and then obviously we see people forget by October or whatever, and then the open rolls back around and they've worked really hard again and their fitness is there, but there's still this massive roadblock. I don't know exactly what I would call that. You know what I mean? But it's to me, this patience thing and this focus thing sort of come together to create a scenario where someone could manipulate just about anything they wanted to if they were willing to take these like tiny little steps that would actually work.
It's almost like consistency. And I think the difficult part for most people is seeing the progress from day to day or week to week or even phase to phase, but not seeing it in a way that's like one more pound on the bar each week. You know, you're not adding 5 pounds to a back squat across an entire season of, you know, your off season of 6 months. You're doing it 5 pounds here, and then you're stuck at the same weight for a very long time. And then you don't realize the improvement is, all right, like I feel better in this movement, or my movement pattern is better, or my depth is better in my squat, but it doesn't always, equal, I have 5 more pounds in my bar. And because of that, it's like, oh, this shiny object over here says, if I do this program, I can try that. Or if I try this style. And the problem is that it derails you from what you know you should be doing, but because it's new, because it's exciting, it, grabs your attention and you go, all right, I'm going to go try that.
The first thing that comes to mind for me is in like an affiliate where you have an athlete who wants to get better at a skill. And it's a skill that is kind of a true skill in the sense that they're not lacking like a physical capability. Like, oh, I want to get better at strict pull-ups. Like, well, that's a strength thing. That's maybe a body weight thing, like those sorts of things. I want to get better at, I'm already fit. I want to get better at handstand walking, or I want to learn to do butterfly pull-ups. Like, okay, those are skills that require practice and kind of that neurological adaptation. And more often than not, I see, I know the trajectory of this. I'm excited for a couple of days. I do it. I take a couple of days off. I come back at it. I'm frustrated because I didn't get better over the past 2 days. And then it kind of drops off to, I don't do it anymore. I didn't practice it. Here comes the open.
Fuck.
Yeah, shoot. I should have practiced. So, I think there's a healthy dose of kind of intention and discipline that's required to be patient. And when you're thinking about, when you're starting something new, I was just looking for I think it was amusing that, did you say you just wrote about, it was basically like you're not, it's not that you're bad at something, it's that you're new at it.
Right.
It's new to you. So when you're trying to develop, whether it's a skill or improve your aerobic capacity by starting up the fasted cardio stuff, and it's uncomfortable and it's difficult, you have to understand that's obviously, intuitively, you should think of that. That's part of the learning process. Like, you're not going to start something new and expect it to be easy, right? Like, what would be the point?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the thing that you're referencing, was the Tuesday tag that we do on the Sharpen the Axe Instagram. You're not bad at it. You're new at it.
Yep.
And I am like hypersensitive to that phenomenon because growing up where I did and the time that I did, it was all about, are you the best at a specific thing? And like, when you're younger, hard work is not cool at all. It's like, I'm the guy that shows up and just does this better.
How little can I do?
Exactly.
And be the best at it?
Because then you have that, like, it's the kid on the dirt bike and Bad News Bears kind of a thing. So there's this like element of like, what's cool now. What?
It's Pharrell. Pharrell's on the bike.
Gnarls Barkley?
Frank Barkley. Yeah.
Gnarls Barkley? Is that his dog?
Yes. So just this concept of, we ingrain it in children that if you don't pick it up immediately, then you're not some kind of phenom, and mom and dad aren't excited, and good luck over there. It's like, it's in I think people might understand it more now, but now that it's exacerbated by social media, by like the little kid who hits the home run when he's like 1 foot tall and he hits like a 200-foot home run and he goes viral, that sort of thing. So for me, this all becomes about like, if you realize that if you chip away at all of these things, especially in CrossFit, like CrossFit's such a good metaphor for life, that if you get better at all of these things by working hard and being patient, then that net that you cast is so much wider and so much more valuable than being the guy in the gym that can climb the pegboard.
The one thing that came to mind as you were speaking about like a child and having difficulty is like my son's starting to learn how to walk and trying to get up on his feet. And, you want to make sure they don't hurt themselves, is that, the surrounding is safe. They're using objects to pull themselves up on. And Noelle and I were talking about this, my wife, and I said, hey, like, it's okay that he's struggling. Like, we teach them this early on. And I think parents do that because they want their kid to have success and they want them to feel like they're successful. But if you listen to any high performer talk about their life, almost none of them are on easy street the entire time. They grew up with intense difficulty. They got kicked off basketball teams. They weren't picked up on the travel team. They weren't able to do this, that, or the other, but that created the atmosphere for their growth. You know, it kind of reminds me of the like analogy with like the oyster. Like you don't create a pearl without having that like irritation inside the oyster at first. And that again creates this beautiful object. Or in this case, my son, like him figuring out how to pull himself up onto his feet is how he's going to learn how to do it on his own. If you continue to do it for him, he'll never pick it up for himself because, you know, people like paths of least resistance, which is why most of us try something for a little while and go, not for me. I'll try something else.
Yeah, people see this success at the end, and like success is not a great teacher.
They tell them it's a story like all of a sudden I just was this person automatically, and it's no, like you didn't see the 10,000 hours in the gym shooting free throws until they were an 85% shooter.
And more often than not, when you're learning something or when you kind of undertake a new endeavor, you're thinking, you're hopefully like, yes, I intend to get better at the specific thing that I'm targeting, but there's also a lot to gain from the experience of actually working at something, and kind of really putting your head down. You learn, if you're paying enough attention, you learn a lot more than just what you were attempting to get better at, or in CrossFit, it's you learn more than what you can do on a bike. You can learn more about your splits. You learn a lot about yourself, and can kind of make the adaptation in that realm as well.
Yeah, I think the statement hard work is patience is sort of like cliff notes for meaningful hard work is patience, because those two words could seem like opposites, right? Like hard work is hard work. It's, a lot of times people think of this like moment, like maximum effort within a window. But, you think about it like, okay, so if I gave you a sheetrock saw and your forehead, yeah, okay, we'll switch this around. Sherb's definitely the forehead guy, and you're the sheetrock saw guy. Sherb's making the hole with his head, and Hunter's just over there.
What was he doing?
It's gonna take a second. I pointed my hand forward.
Okay, I didn't see it.
That's not an approved technique. So again, that's why I think it's important, because that statement in itself might seem like a contradiction, but the people that we watch put in the hours and put in the effort are also patient within the idea that if you are trying to, like, think about how hard you work to get here. Now you're already here, and we know that moving the needle forward is very challenging once you're already good. Like, what's it going to take for this to actually happen? And one of the reasons why this podcast idea popped into my head again was looking at the literature on actually creating slow twitch muscle fibers and increasing lactate thresholds so that you can become, a more aerobically efficient athlete. And the research basically is like, if you spend 3+ hours a week for 3 to 6 months, depending on your genetics and your history and all that, that's when you start to see benefits. That's a lot of patient, hard work.
Physiological, or is that mental, or is that both sides? Did they say just in the reading that you were?
I mean, when you're talking about a white paper on things like this, they use a rating system for anything that's mental, and obviously that's flawed compared to they're using actual lactate. Like, the reason why you'll find so many different equations for zone 2 training is because it's not about your heart rate, it's about your lactate. But just like measuring like ketones or something like that, the measuring your lactate is expensive as hell, like for no good reason really. And people don't, like, I think, love the idea of pricking their finger
over and over
again. It's funny though, like I think it's Peter Attia is the one who's like obsessed with cycling, and he's like an amazing, groundbreaking doctor. So he has a notebook with every lactate level he's ever had on his stationary bike, which is absolutely crazy. So again, that brings me back to, I want this change to happen. I'm willing to work for it. I'm willing to stare down at the puddle of sweat on the ski erg, but that's just a single given day. And that is a hurdle you have to get over. You do need to get over the fact that this moment, this thing that you're trying to check off, the little by little mentality, that needs to come first. But then what's even harder is I still got 3 more 45-minute sessions or 2 more 1-hour sessions this week. and then next week, and then the week after that. And knowing myself, I'm probably wouldn't even fit into their study. I'm probably 6 to 9 months or whatever, like realistically. So can people stay focused enough to do that? Hopefully you've already reached that point where you know that you have to go out there and log your hours.
I mean, that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference between the people who get to the top and the people who don't, is that I think everybody given something that you care enough about in such a way that you are willing to put in an above and beyond an above average effort relative to other people, it becomes like how kind of committed you are to it and how willing you are to kind of see it all the way through. Because we know of plenty of athletes who are are physically gifted in the sport of CrossFit, like physically gifted, have the mental capacity to handle the highest levels of competition, but simply don't care enough to do it. So they're not. And I think a lot of that has to do with just like the level of patience and the level of work that is required to sustain that. It's not as much like, oh, I can't physically do this, or this is a physical beatdown. It is a level of patience and willingness to kind of work and endure, not necessarily, excruciating pain every single day. Like that, your example, like each individual session isn't necessarily like the hardest thing you've ever done.
Right.
But the
clock is the only hard part about it.
Right. Yeah. But the continued effort, not only, from 0 to 45 minutes, but from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 to week 3, week 4, like that's a long time to mentally sustain, like kind of that focus and that energy and that patience and willingness to remember that 3 or 4 weeks ago, you were really excited about this goal that you had in mind. Like, where did it go? Has it diminished because it actually wasn't something that you were actually interested in improving? Or is it getting monotonous? Is it getting hard? Is it getting boring? And therefore that kind of checkbox should tell you, like, was it actually that important to you, or is it just like shiny object syndrome?
To me too, you talk about, the level of the person we're discussing here varies greatly. And if you're someone new and you get those novice beginner gains, it's really easy to stay motivated and stay up, with your training, because you see yourself adding 5 pounds to the bar, or you can go 1 second faster on your split. But when you get further into the sport or further into endeavor, one, you should know a little bit more about it because you've been doing it for so long. You have to find some sort of metric that you can use to keep you engaged. So like, I like to use the fasted cardio example. You can look at your heart rate. You can look at your average pace. You can look at, did I go 5 more meters this week? And using that information, or even just going by subjective feel. Do I feel better this week than I did last week? Noticing that, like, I'm pretty consistent with everything else I do. I sleep the same. I eat relatively the same. But if I feel better this week, that's a, hey, attaboy, attagirl, you did a little bit better this week. I think for a lot of athletes, the struggle lies in figuring out what is that motivational factor? What is the item that keeps you engaged? Because you're right, some of these things take a long time to develop. Most people aren't patient enough to say, I'm going to ride a bike 3 hours a week for 6 months to get a little bit better. But if you have a metric or something that you can hold on to or grasp onto and say, look, I'm either noticing my trend and my heart rate's going down, or I'm noticing I'm going a few more meters each week. You have to latch onto those things and find ways to stay self-motivated. And for me, that's how I think about it. I want to find something in my performance that I can latch onto and go, all right, it's better this week than it was last.
And what's so cool about this specific topic, and we'll break down other areas, but when you do this, you might have similar performances indefinitely, and then you might be doing the burpee box jump over workout in the open and your legs aren't even a factor anymore. They don't exist. You know what I mean? Like it shows up in different places. And for most of the athletes that I give it to, I mean, a lot of them do struggle with longer events, but you have athletes who, just because they're a CrossFitter, have this ridiculous pain threshold and can go out and perform in a given moment to be able to do that, but then they're toast or whatever. So this specific topic really is exciting now that the community starts to grasp it a little bit more and more and more. And then the other thing from our perspective, the three of us, we have to deal with whether something is cool and exciting to the community at large, not just the Misfit community, but the coaching community and the CrossFit community. Is this cool enough for us to put it on a piece of paper and have people actually adhere to this thing? Because you think back towards the trends, like my list for this podcast, one of the things is strength, and not everyone bought into the GPP model of strength for a very long time. So when an athlete couldn't get stronger, they bebopped around program, and I'm on Smolov and I'm on this and I'm on that. And it's like, yeah, if you just like lift and work out, you'll get stronger. But it was so hard to get someone to stay on a path. The idea that even a novice strength coach couldn't get someone stronger over the course of 6 to 9 months in a specific lift is fucking insane. But as the athlete, why does this keep happening? How could it possibly keep happening to an athlete? And those are the things that I tried to think about last night and write down. And the 3 that I came up with were boredom, distractions, and triggers. So boredom is literally just like, I was super pumped about this.
5 weeks ago.
Just decided to handstand walk every day for a month. And then I don't fucking care anymore. I got a little bit better at it, and I was like, oh, this isn't really that big of a deal. So I'm over it. Or distractions. Distractions are aplenty in a CrossFit gym. I mean, one of the reasons why this shit is so weird is like NBA player gets done their season, they can't shoot. How could they hide from that? There's really no way to go and hide from that. I'm not good at muscle ups. I can hide from that. I got bikes. I got this. There's a million things to do, so I can continue to work hard, bury that problem deep in my subconscious until it comes up again and I get super pissed again. So the distraction thing to me makes a whole lot of sense. And I think the distraction and the boredom can sort of play together. But then there's also the triggers. There's the trigger of you not, in the interim. So you've got a year to get stronger, and 3 months in, you're at a local comp, or class is doing a 1 rep max back squat, or something happens where you don't see the progress that you're hoping to see 10 months later, 11 months later, 12 months later. And it's like, fuck this. What I'm doing right now is not working. You haven't put in the work to know whether it's working or not, but you should give up on it because that trigger is there. And those triggers are important to acknowledge, because they're not going to make sense to anyone else other than you. This is the thing that you're self-conscious about. You just performed it in front of a bunch of people and you're still not where you want to be. So you're like, why did I do those, 10 back squat sessions?
It's a tough conversation to have, because for a lot of athletes, I think of like, Cody in the squat cleans in 2015, worked himself up to be a high-level competitor, was ready to punch his ticket in that year for the CrossFit Games, and then got to that final barbell and couldn't squat clean it. And then I remember for about 3 months, every single time I saw Cody in the gym, he was doing GHD sit-ups because I gave him some trouble, and I saw him doing heavy squat cleans because he thought it would fix it. And that event was a clear trigger for him. He felt like he had a huge gap in his strength, and that held him out of being a CrossFit Games athlete. But then, he experienced a very similar experience after a while, got bored of doing the same thing over and over again, and had the opportunity to be like, all right, like this thing would pop back up and see frustrated. And so, all right, I'm not going to do this for a while, or I'm going to go try something else. And when Cody just went back to going, all right, I'm just going to get in really good shape and I'm just going to follow a program and stick to it. That broke through immensely. Like I remember lifting with him it felt like 1 month, and he was struggling with 55 squat cleans for reps. And then next week comes back in and it's like, you're squat cleaning 300 triples. Like what is happening here? Like, who is this person that was here a month ago and how do we get here? And it was just a recommitment to being like, all right, I'm going to fix something and work on it, rather than just hop around and do the same thing over and over and over again, hoping that will fix the problem. Because more often than not, that just creates more frustration or leads you to that distraction and burnout and boredom a little faster.
It's kind of interesting because in my mind, there's 2 types of athletes. There's like the raw beginner and the more experienced athlete, and both require the same thing, but have to think about it differently. You've got the raw beginner who can basically do anything, and we'll say, affiliate level athlete. Okay, someone who's got decent number of the skills, but there's obviously some things that you can do to improve. Like, whereas to kind of just juxtapose that with the experienced athlete, you've got the athlete who's like maybe is the Cody, who's got like that one small thing that helped that kind of held him off. So you've got that the less experienced athlete who can literally just do basically anything and maybe even just with a small bit of focus on that one thing that he's trying to improve, and they will get better at that. Someone like Cody, on the other hand, would the more experienced you are, the more you kind of need to pay attention to what your progress is like. And you kind of alluded to it where your progress isn't going to look quite the same as somebody who's a beginner, because the beginner is going to say, I did 5 more reps than I did last time, therefore that's a PR. Whereas somebody like Cody, that, he can squat clean 265. What was it kind of surrounding that made him fail? And that's a lot harder, especially within CrossFit where there are so many variables. And as a coach, you have to say to yourself or talk to your athlete, like, okay, yeah, well, first of all, if I had told you, if you were on the 10-week strength cycle, okay, and you didn't PR in week 4, like if I told you, like, or if I asked you in week 1, do you expect to PR in week 4? You would probably say no, probably not, right? And so why are you getting upset that, that competition or whatever it was, the 1 rep max in class, whatever it was, didn't go so well? Like, it wasn't supposed to happen. What are you upset about? So just kind of putting it into context, and also reminding athletes that, one, like, it's very, very difficult, especially in CrossFit, to time all of the different variables in such a way that enables you to PR during like a test week, for example. That's one of the biggest conversations I have with remote and class athletes, is like, unless the week looks 100% identical, and I don't even mean programming wise, I mean like things like your sleep, your nutrition, your recovery, all of those things, unless you are replicating that exactly, which is nearly impossible just from a variability standpoint, like, don't get upset. You have to look for other things that have improved over that time. You have to have that patience to say, this small thing improved, and therefore, like, maybe it didn't show itself today, but it will in the future, or it wasn't a waste of time.
It reminds me of what you just said a minute ago about the aerobic work, where all of a sudden randomly in the open, in the dumbbell snatch workout, your burpee box jump overs are easier. Like, that is your aerobic work leading to increased fitness. Similar with a back squat cycle, you might do all 8 weeks of it, not miss a day, hit every single set, go to your test week, not PR. And then 2 weeks later, you're in class and you squat clean more weight than you ever have in your entire life. Yeah. And you haven't done squat cleans recently. It's like, that is the performance. That is what you were after with your squat cycle. Yes, it might not equal to a nice, sexy back squat PR, but wouldn't you care more if you were just generally fitter? For a lot of athletes, it's like, yeah, if something moves the needle, it might not always be 1-to-1. I back squat, I get better at back squat. I might back squat and get better at touch and go snatches, or I might be able to do box jump overs more efficiently. And those are the type of things that as an athlete gets more mature and begins to collect all that data upon themselves, they have to realize that it's not going to always equal, a cycle is not going to always end with you having success in every single thing that you do. Similar to like a test week, right? You might have an athlete who does test week, hits, one of our tests, and then comes back and doesn't PR in the conditioning piece, that specific one, but PR in the other 3. And they're like, well, fuck, it was a total waste of my time. I didn't PR that one single thing. It's like, well, what about all those over there? And for a lot of athletes, we have to remember that there are more than one ways to like benchmark our fitness. And there are other applications for what we're doing day to day that might show up in other things. And that you have to hopefully connect those dots over time, realizing like, as a mature athlete and with that athlete IQ, that this squat cycle equaled that PR, and they might not be 1-to-1.
Yeah, what came to mind when you're saying that is the belief that you can get better, I think might be a prerequisite here. It's almost like you have maybe your baseline confidence level when you walk into the gym, just as an athlete. Let's not talk about what the workout is yet. I feel X when I walk into a CrossFit gym. But then as we start to change the variables, what happens to that confidence level? So you can be the baddest mother on the planet, and then there's this movement where you turn into a shell of yourself. and you don't. And that's why, you know, the easiest way to get someone's back squat better, if I got a year, is, you know, 3x10 for a long time, and then 4x8 for a long time, and then 5x6. You work your way down. You give them a ton of volume, and then you try to tackle their central nervous system. It's not challenging to write as a coach. It's obviously very challenging physically, but when you give that to someone who doesn't believe that they're going to get stronger and they don't have the confidence, they don't execute on it. If you gave someone that was already strong that program, they would eat that shit for fucking breakfast, lunch, and dinner and come out the other side stronger. And then, you know, the person who didn't get stronger is going to throw their hands up in the air. So when we're talking about action items, action steps for, yeah, okay, I see this in myself, I'm willing to admit that. What can you actually do? You can walk into the gym and let your confidence as a person bleed into other areas. How did you get so good at another thing and also believe that you can't get good at this thing with a similar amount of hard work, but just turning the confidence up how you would with anything else? All right, Misfits, just a quick break. Shout out to our show sponsors and hopefully save you a little bit of dough. This week, the long-awaited, updated Suffer collection, Suffer, Smile, Endure, for anyone who wonders what SSE means, is dropping. And finally, you are getting your 5-inch inseam running shorts. You've been asking for them for a very long time. You're finally getting them. They've got the lovely Suffer logo on them. And then for me personally,
they're real stretchy too.
Yeah, they're nice. They're very nice shorts. So those will be available, but also I have wanted the classic white Suffer shirt for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, the old school smiley face that so many companies have done some sort of iteration on was that white t-shirt with the bright yellow smiley face on it. I've always wanted that. So I made it.
Any guesses how long I can keep mine white for?
It's not white now, is it?
No.
No, I didn't think so. We got socks, we got all kinds of good stuff, and obviously the rest of the store is stocked with all your favorite goodies. So you can head to sharpentheaxeco.com, use the code word Keala, Keala. You will save 10%, and then we will send that same amount of money to the Keala Foundation. You can head to their website and check out why you would want to do that. sharpentheaxeco.com.
We are also brought to you by Pure Spectrum CBD. You can head to purespectrumcbd.com and use the code word Misfit to save on your order. Last week we talked about coming back from the Granite Games, how we were all absolutely wiped. Everyone's recovery was in the absolute
And then you
garbage
wiped out all your hamstring muscles.
Rude. So I asked Drew what kept him in the, feeling good over the course of the weekend, as good as he could feel. And he said, I really used that tincture the entire time we were in Minnesota. So took him up on it. I haven't really used mine in a while. Been putting that underneath the tongue. And my recovery scores via my Whoop has nearly doubled since. So I'm really a big believer in how that helps me unwind at the end of the evening. Again, you can head to purespectrumcbd.com, use the code word Misfit to save on any order of their great CBD products.
Tell you what you should have done after you tried to pull that 500-pound sumo is grab some proper fuel. That would have stitched the old hammy right up.
I've been rubbing it on my leg all week.
The proper fuel, just the powder, just rubbing it on there. Yeah, rub some dirt on it, grabs proper fuel. Proper fuel, properfuel.co. Use the code word Misfit to save on your first order. You have got the 7 wonders of the universe all in one jug. That's what I'm calling it from now on. I like it. You can't tell me to say the 7 essential ingredients for recovery. It's the 7 wonders of the universe.
Fair.
All your post-workout needs. It's my favorite, favorite protein shake. It's my favorite.
You should have just ended there. It's my favorite.
It's my favorite.
Bye.
It's my favorite. Bye. No, I squatted super heavy. I squatted heavy for me yesterday, and I know that if I go the full 4 scoop, like an hour or so after that post-workout, I know that I'm not going to be nearly as sore the next day, because I'm now training for the CrossFit Games, because Caroline is going to drag me through the next 6 weeks with her.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yes, but I know those 4 scoops after a heavy session really helps my recovery, really allows me to kind of get back after it the next day. So properfuel.co, use the code word Misfit to save on your first order.
You guys don't know Hunter as well as we do. I don't know that we could pay him enough to say those things if he didn't believe them.
That's
true.
He would not say those. If we wrote those words down and he didn't like that product, he would not say them. or you would be able to tell that he didn't want to say that.
It's fine.
If you want to jump in on the connection between all of this stuff that we talk about on the podcast and then the programming itself, we think of ourselves as a group remote coach to the thousands of people that are following the Misfit blog. If you really want to put this entire system together, you're already halfway there with the content.
You might as well.
Might as well. Head to misfitathletics.com for your individual programming needs, teammisfit.com for your affiliate programming needs, and then both of them are on SugarWOD if that's what you're into. And you can try almost all of our programs for 2 weeks for free. We believe that we can make an adaptation both physically and mentally in a 2-week period. That's why we give it away, just to show you what the programming is capable of.
But you got to be patient.
But you got to be patient. Very true. All right, back to the show.
Yeah, that's a difficult conversation because obviously that we all come in with our own biases about things that we are, naturally good at. You and I talk back and forth, like we're going to go hop on a long C2 bike. We're not going to be going at the same pace, but I also wouldn't want to go 1 rep max box jump off with you either, based on the fact that, you believe you're fast twitch and you've executed and shown that you are a little bit more fast twitch than I am and a little more slow twitch. But if you can believe that there's something about what you're currently doing and there's area for improvement, if you have that belief, you're on a successful path. If you go into it with the idea of you're not going to get better, like, fuck, I want to find something else to do or find someone to help work through that biases so you understand that like you're self-creating that mindset and that's not a thing that really exists. You have created that. And if we can break through whatever that mental block is, you can see the progress you're looking for, but you have to start believing in yourself because it has to start with you before it's going to come from anybody else.
I think that's where the help of a coach really comes in handy because it's not.
We're not going to let you forget.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the differences between coaching a relatively inexperienced athlete versus someone like Caroline or Austin or Roy at the Granite Games, where I'm not telling Caroline how to do thrusters. She that ship has sailed. We're thinking about like mental stuff, the smaller details or whatever, whereas the affiliate athlete, I'm like, okay, let's get the dumbbells on the shoulders, like that sort of thing. Little shout out to the old dumbbell tip
Wait,
video.
they go on your shoulders?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll pay attention.
But I also think it's important to think about this from a psychological perspective. When you post something on Instagram or YouTube, let's assume it's something positive, it's something that you're proud of. You might get, let's say you get 50 comments and 49 of them are great job, smile, clapping hands emoji, whatever it is.
Have you ever used any of those?
Chirp slides in.
Have you ever used any of those positive emojis?
No. All my frequently used emojis are just the skull and crossbones and the purple devil thing. Okay, but there's the one comment that maybe it's not even like outwardly negative, but it's like, oh man, I did that last week or something like that. or some, it's just that, but that's the one that sticks out. That's the one that always sticks out. You go to work for a week, you have 4 out of 5 really good days. One coworker says one wrong thing and that sticks out. That the negative, just the one negative, and that's a human, that's part of our kind of evolution as people. We are going to pull out that negative. That negative is going to stand out a lot more than the positives. And you have to recognize that as an athlete when you are going on that kind of endeavor of, I want to get better at something and I realize it's going to take time. Odds are that if we stacked up the positives versus the negatives, one, just the fact that you were attacking this, like that positive side just goes through the roof, okay? It might be hard. That's a small negative, okay? You have to think how many positives are there because odds are there's probably the 49 positives, but you're focusing on that one negative, and that's how we are as humans, but you have to flip that and you have to be cognizant of it and then flip it as an athlete in order to make that improvement. Because a lot of times too, these sorts of things are very subjective. Improvement in something, unless it's like, I want to improve my max set of X, my 1 rep max of X, whatever it is. There's so much subjectivity to improvement in CrossFit that you have to have that kind of like okay, yeah, well, this one bad thing happened, but how many good things came out of this training piece, out of this training cycle, or this experience that I used or went through in order to get better at this one thing?
I mean, you're advocating for a support system because it's going to be what sets you apart and what allows you to achieve these goals, is having people in your corner who also believe in you. But I was just like going back and thinking about the conversation earlier with the like being a kid, like your parents want to set you up for success. They make things a little bit easier. But if you can't wrap your mind around the fact that things are supposed to be difficult and you should have some level of challenge on your way there, and to accept the fact that that's not a permanent thing, because that's what a lot of people feel like, is when something is a red flag right in front of your face, you know, pistols are in the AGOQ, you can't do pistols. Well, fuck, this workout's over. I might as well just go home. That's one mindset to have. Or you can say, all right, what about this movement have I not figured out yet? Am I not attacking a very specific thing? Do I not have someone with eyes on me that can tell me how to move better? What is that thing? And when you can find that person and find that, you know, that environment around you that wants you to succeed and is at your back, you know, the wind at your back instead of in your face, that's going to help propel you in that direction. And I really do think that every successful athlete has some level of support system. The greater the support system, the more success you're going to have. So to me, I'm looking for someone to be in the environment where there's a growth mindset, that we're all working on something. While we will not be working on the same thing, we're both in the gym doing our damnedest to be better at whatever it is that's holding us back.
You think about like, what does the word, like in practical application, reality actually mean? Like, is reality exactly what's going on with no perception, or is reality what you have created on your own? It seems like we can do a pretty bad job of creating these realities that send us off in God knows what direction. And we believe it because, again, it is how we are perceiving something. So we're talking about a support system. What can be really great is if you're going to work really hard, there's a good chance you're going to get beat down, and you're going to have those moments where you have a very skewed reality of what is going on. And that's why we do the podcasts and the videos and all that stuff and talk about this. Like, we don't want you to, I don't know, go on Etsy and get a sign made for your kitchen table that says weakness is a gift. Like, I don't need your live, laugh, love, whatever the fuck. Well, I want you to feel it in your heart while you're out in the gym training. Like, I have worked so hard and done so many things well, but I'm not where I want to be. So what else is there to change? Go find the thing that you're absolutely the worst at and try to get better at it, because then again, you can actually make a difference in something. So weakness is a gift, but with social media now and the amount of information that we have and the amount of times that we get inspired in these like 7-second bursts, like, we want you to take this information and then go out in the gym and actually do it. Like, I promise you that you sucking at something when you're already pretty good as a whole is, I mean, that's the best.
It's temporary. It's temporary, but you have to realize that not everything happens on the same scale and same speed. Like, some things you will conquer very fast and get, develop really quickly, and some things you won't. But finding a worthy adversary is another one of your, I don't know if that was one of your STA posts or one of your Misfit musings. But I really like that idea of like, what you're doing, if it were easy, wouldn't be worth doing. Like, you wouldn't get excited about the progress. If you just walked in and were automatically good at it, you wouldn't even think twice about like how awesome it was that you were able to do that. But when you put the work in and you see yourself grow at something you're very bad at initially, to be able to go out and have that success, I mean, that's talking about falling in love with the journey, which is what separates someone from, hey, I'm like really sort of okay at this, or I'm the best at this. I want to double down on the things that I'm not good at and get better at them. And because I can enjoy the fact that I'm improving and seeing that, lead to other parts of my life is a great lesson. I really do think the gym is a great analogy for life in general. But like, when you have something that's difficult and you finally conquer that, there's no better feeling in the world. When you finally get that first muscle up, or you get that first, toes to bar, you're able to, walk on your hands. There's no more rewarding experience than you see in an affiliate than an athlete that's able to conquer one of those skills.
Yeah. The worthy adversary thing was one of those like in real time coaching light bulb type moments, because I was having a conversation with Caroline about how do you achieve flow state. We need a challenge that's worthy of our best, and we need to be highly skilled. If we're highly skilled at the thing that is the challenge, then those, sort of intersect and create typically what people would call a flow state. And when I went into the conversation, we were talking about the first open workout. And I just assumed that she wasn't able to take herself to that place because of her perceived skill level when it came to the double unders. Turns out she thought it was kind of boring. She saw it and didn't get the enthusiasm that you get when they announced that first open workout. That first like open workout, they're like, is body weight workout, wall climbs. You're like, is this fucking boot camp? Like, what is happening right now? And because that stuck with her, she wasn't really able to go there. And it's like, I started to think about it from the perspective of all really good athletes. They always have this either enemy or opponent or this thing, this story, this like warped reality that they create in their head on purpose to pull out of them something that wouldn't happen otherwise. You know what I mean? Like Tom Brady still thinks everyone thinks he sucks. Everyone literally puts the goat emoji anytime they say anything about him. He's not even referred to as his name anymore. He's referred to as an animal. And yet he's like, oh, well, this coach said that I'm getting old, so I'm just going to have to win 9 more Super Bowls in a row. Like, so you think about the worthy adversary, them continuing to create that. And then that was how we started to approach looking at workouts. Like, what is it here? Is it that you want to beat Austin? Is it that you want to beat the rest of the women? Do you want to overcome this, whatever? But looking at it from like, I need that. I need to know who my opponent is in this moment is something I think that, you know, if all the best do it, we got to figure out what that means.
That's a big plug for remote coaching too, because one of the things I talk about with my athletes is that like in every single training session, I don't give a shit what your actual overall time is unless you're way off from what we were talking about initially with the idea of the stimulus, but it's picking some part of the workout and saying, all right, I'm going to be deliberately focused at holding this pace, doing this at unbroken, transitioning at this speed the entire time. Those adversaries are what move the needle down the road for these high level athletes, or even move the needle for brand new athletes. Can you pick some part of the workout to get better at, knowing that the overall score isn't the objective? The overall objective is getting better at some facet in that workout. So picking something out to focus on the entire time is a way to make your training more effective rather than just doing, I'll do exactly what's on that website. So I think that's a really important point.
It's also really important as an athlete to put yourself in a situation where you don't think that you can succeed, or maybe the goal is it needs to be obviously kind of like, I don't want to use the, you know, SMART acronym, so to speak. It can't be, it's not my goal. If I set the goal of go to the CrossFit Games, that would ultimately be kind of like demoralizing because I'm not going to the CrossFit Games. Okay, but I could. But
you
I
actually are.
I can. What's that?
You are
going this year. Congratulations.
True. Yes, thank you. I worked really hard. Caroline was so proud of me. But the goal needs to be, I guess, worthy. That is the word that comes to mind, because, and then ultimately once that is achieved, regardless of how small it is, whether it is something as small as a movement or something as you know, significant as maybe you qualify for semifinals, maybe, you know, or for Caroline, you qualified for the CrossFit Games. It needs, and that once that happens, it's so much easier to look back on the things. What are the things that I did in order to get me here? Because it wasn't just one thing. It was a culmination of a lot of different things that maybe didn't make sense at the time, or didn't kind of rear themselves at the time, but did in this one performance, whether again, that's a weekend long event or a single workout or a single movement. But then what's really important, what happens next is you as an athlete, you start to believe, you know that it's possible. You know that, now I'm a semifinals athlete. Like, I can hang with these people. I'm a CrossFit Games athlete. Like, I can hang with so-and-so when I can set the floor on fire in an event on the, at the Granite Games, whatever it is. And that's hugely powerful. We see that all the time when, athletes, you get just that little taste of either competition itself or more so competition success. And it's like, wow, like, I can do this. And that rejuvenating feeling enables you to, see like, it's going to be hard, but I can set that goal and I can get it out there, and then I can go to it. It might take a little while, but I can get there.
Yeah, I think the difficult part for a lot of athletes is understanding that your ego is what's causing you to believe like this thing should be easy, or like when you do accomplish something, like, oh, that was no problem. I just worked for a little bit and I got better at it. But like the arduous story that is your actual life when you're trying to get better at deadlifting, or you want to get faster on your feet, you know, you tell yourself that when you finally get that improvement, like, oh yeah, it was just an easy thing. You can't forget the fact that you've put in that work, and that lesson will apply to everything else that you do. Some things will come faster, some things will come slower, but it is your ego that's telling you, oh yeah, that was no problem, when it actually was years of hard work. Like looking at someone like Caroline, who is the most consistent person that's ever walked through these doors. Everything that Drew asked her to do as her coach, she does. She comes in every single day, does the same, hard work. She puts in the focus of, I'm going to get better at this phase. I'm going to get better at this movement this time. And, it might be really easy to say, oh yeah, I'm a CrossFit Games athlete. It was pretty easy to get there. But, that's a story you tell yourself, which honestly is false. So accepting the fact that your ego can charge you and get you, desiring to do something that's, it's very challenging is a great thing. But once you accomplish one great thing, never forget that you had this long, arduous journey to get there, and that you should use that framework to be like, all right, well, I did it for one thing. Let's do it for something else.
Potentially the greatest example of this concept is trying to get better at what we would call anaerobic performance, because you literally self-sabotage and annihilate and blow your workout up on purpose to get better at something, while simultaneously having a shit score in a workout. The litmus test for, am I good? You have a workout that everyone walks in and, is like half excited, half terrified when they see it on the board. And if you suck at that kind of thing, the only way that you're ever going to get better at it, obviously with adding the peripheral stuff around it, is to go to that place that you currently can't sustain the whole time. If you don't go there, you will never reach that place. You can't magically hope that you can run 20 miles an hour and just run 10 for a really long time. And then I've really been pushing that 10. I've logged the hours at 10. Like, no, you got to try to run like 21 or 22 for 2 seconds and figure out how to go there. So many athletes can't, within one single, not even a single day, but a single piece or a single round, let themselves go there because they don't want the whiteboard to say that they're worse than someone when they could have gamed it and done a little bit better.
It's funny you say that. When we were at the Granite Games, I actually got a DM about this. I don't remember. I think it was the 40, 30, 20, 10-second bike sprint with like ridiculous rest. And like someone's like, the fuck's
Not
wrong?
ridiculous.
It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you guys? Why do we do this? What good does this do? This ruined my whole fucking day. And I was like, well, first,
you got to ask.
you're
That's
welcome.
why you got to do it.
First, you're welcome. But second of all, talking about energy pathways and just the what you exactly just talked about a second ago. It's like, if you want to have that gear, if you want to have something, fuck, you got to try at it. You can't just snap your fingers and hope it happens. Like,
Hey, you could try.
well,
You could try.
Yeah, So it's funny because we have those days at the gym. The day that we have 10 calorie repeats on the assault bike, everyone's like, cool, fuck, cancel my membership. I ain't coming back.
They were doing 0.2. They were doing 200 meter assault bike yesterday, and I read it wrong and thought they were doing 2Ks, and I heard the building start to sing the I'm like, what are they doing? Those are like 2-minute rounds.
Ratchet hatchet up quite a bit at this gym.
Yeah,
I don't know
really.
if it's been a while since we were in it, but I think it's a really important thing to remind ourselves. If we don't go there, we're not gonna get there. So like, working with Holly Holgerson, who ended up finishing 9th in the German throwdown.
Maybe he did. They keep changing the leaderboards.
Well, that's true, because but those are other things. But the two things I'm most proud of him over the course of the weekend is something we've been working on for years. Is he was always a gifted aerobic athlete, had all the skills, but if it were short and fast, fuck, I'm out. No thanks. Skip, pass, next time. And we've put so much energy and effort into trying to develop that self-sabotaging in workouts, saying, I don't give a fuck what round 2 and 3 looks like. Just kill yourself on round 1. He put up 2 scores that, even 2 years ago would have been, half of his rounds. Like, he's supposed to do 10 rounds of Gretel. That would have been his score for 5 rounds of Gretel a couple of years ago. So, it isn't always the most comfortable. It isn't always the most enjoyable to put yourself in that situation. But if you can set your ego aside and focus on something very specific, you can move the needle. Now, how fast that happens, there are many different factors that occur there that can make you go faster or slower, but you have to put yourself in it if you want those. If you have goals, you have to put yourself out there in the situation where you are working on something very specific, and often, more times than not, it's not something you're going to be enjoying.
I got trolled so hard by one of our coaches today because I haven't made up the 21-15-9 assault bike calorie, 9-15-21 dumbbell push press.
It's a hoot.
And I was just sort of talking about how there's basically no way for me to do well in this workout because I could game it, but that's just slow on the assault bike. Or I could hammer the 21 calories and then
Go home.
and then be, a shell of myself on the 15. And I'm like going through all of these things and analyzing it. And he's just like, it sounds like you know exactly what you need to do and you don't want to do it. And I was like,
True.
You know what, Chris? I came over here looking for my coffee cup. So I will.
Who asked you?
I will see you later.
Not for reality.
But like you forget that sometimes. If that's something, if going there is what you're good at, if you're seasoned crash and burn expert, once you get away from that for a little bit, it's hard to make yourself go back to that place because again, is the only thing people are going to see in SugarWOD is, wow, coach had the slowest score again.
Feel the pain in your heart when you were doing it
in the entire gym. But if I want to be able to do the 15 well, that's where I got to go. And that's, to me, kind of an awesome example of what this entire thing means, because sometimes we can't even be patient enough in a single day.
We see that a lot of times with athletes who either say they want to be competitive or they want to just do a little bit more. You're following the blog and maybe deep down inside that you shouldn't be doing the MFT version of this workout. But like you said, the ego is so big that there's no possible way I'm going to toggle over to the hatchet workout and do what is inevitably harder because it's quote easier. It's not easier.
We've been doing the Lord's work, by the way. I've been getting DMs. People are switching over to hatchet.
All right, thanks.
And they're loving it too.
Good.
So
yeah,
if you heard that, you do it too.
Yeah. So, and it's like, you're lying to yourself too. You know that you're looking at that and being like, oh yeah, no, I can do that. It's going to be hard. It's going to take a while, but it's like, nice try, motherfucker. Like, swipe left, go to the easy one, Oh yeah.
But coach, let me wear my weight vest so I can do my mile runs.
Yeah, until you get that thing down under 10 minutes, you got plenty of weight vest. You are a weight vest, bitch. Fuck.
So skill work, I think one of the themes that I wanted to put out there, and it applies very well to skill work, but also to everything else, is this like aim big, miss small. One of the reasons why we can't get to, 30 muscle ups in a row is because we're satisfied when we hit 12 on our way to 30. And then it's like, I'm competent. What's the next challenge? So again, in terms of action steps, you have to know where you want to end up. You absolutely have to know that. And then we can talk about what it takes to remember fucking daily for all that period of time. Like that's one of the biggest issues we have in coaching competitors is they can forget about everything else that's going on out on that competition floor when they get back into the mode of this is just what I do. I'm back out here. You forget you're at the CrossFit Games. You forget that you would on any other day give anything to be in the moment that you're in, because this is just all you do all the time is exercise. You get out there and you get into your mode and you give it 90%. And your competitor is giving it 101 and you lose.
I was just thinking about you have to have a destination in this journey. Otherwise, how the hell you're on the right journey? Thinking about like if someone set sail for America in 92, whatever that year that was, and they were just like, fuck, I'm just going to take off on this boat and see what happens. Who knows where the fuck I'll end up?
Well,
like
that did happen. That's exactly what happened.
They were going for the East Indies. West Indies? I don't fucking know.
They were going in the wrong direction.
They're going in the East Indies. They end up in the West Indies. But like they had a very specific objective. They were trying to get a more efficient trade route with India, right? They had an objective there. And if you don't have an objective when you're training,
stupid America in the middle.
No one fact check us on this shit.
Right?
Especially because this is the opposite of what he's trying to.
Go ahead,
but I'm saying like it's really important to have an idea of where you want to go, because you put out an arbitrary, subjective goal. How will you know if you make it? oh, I hope I feel better when I do this next time. Like, great, I hope you do too. But like, that's not really a good goal. You want to have something in front of you. And I think you have to be very vulnerable, and it's very scary to say, but if you don't put that out into the universe, you're not going to create the support system you need to knock off one of these goals. If someone doesn't know that you're trying to work on handstand walks and you do it for a day and you're like, fuck, I'm bored of this, I'm not going to do it anymore, who other than you is going to keep you accountable? So I think people should really lean into the community they have around them, whether that's an online community on the website or that's training buddies in the gym. But if you have a goal, if there's something you're working on, put it out there, because that's going to keep you honest, and other people are going to help keep you honest, which is going to create that adherence that we look for. And this is something we see happen daily at the affiliate. You stop showing up to class, your buddies are going to be like, hey bud, you haven't been in a while, where the hell you been? And that's going to help bring you back in. And that's, the goal in this situation is going to the gym consistently, but it doesn't matter what the goal is. You create a support structure around you, you're going to have better success.
It's final thoughts time, gentlemen. That doesn't count. That was pretty good, but it doesn't count. Because I make
Christopher Columbus.
You got yours? I need a second.
Yep. I think this boils down to the 6,000 things we already said, but then in terms of actual action items, we have to set up systems where we remember in any given moment what we're trying to accomplish. I think that's the biggest trick that happens, is we just forget what we felt like the last time that this happened. And not everyone has a remote coach, but you have people in your camp that care about your success, or you need to get people in your camp that care about your success. And it's the little things you always see. You can find, whoever it is, Brent Fikowski, like pause the video and look, I guarantee it says some kind of shit on his whiteboard that he wants to see every day. Was it Kalipa that wrote, what's Rich doing?
With that weird toggle hanging out of the wall. I don't know what that was all about, but sorry.
Okay. So how could you possibly remind yourself, not only moment to moment, but then across 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year? This is what I want. I came in 3,226th place because I can't handstand walk, or I can't do this, I can't do that. Where can you put that information that reminds you, not only in general that you want to work hard, because we don't work with that many people that struggle with that. It's this like lack of focus, lack of like, I'm going to stay on this track, even though it's going to be really hard. Like another thing, strict handstand push-ups, not that hard to fix, takes a very long time. And again, it's just stuff like that keeps popping into my head. You see athletes continue to struggle with them year after year after year. The reminders across that whole stretch are what's going to get you there. You have to come up with a system that allows you to remember what it was like to come in the top 10 in every workout and last in another one.
Yeah, I would say just lean into the fact that you are a misfit. And in this situation, what I mean by that is, we tend to do things, or we talk about things in a different way than other people would, or, try to embark on journeys that are a little bit unique. Not everyone pursues this high level, elite level fitness. But if you can lean into something being difficult and accepting the fact that like you are a bit unique in the regard that you're willing to go do something that's challenging, you should be very proud of that effort. And if you can keep that that level of pride inside of your body that you're doing something that's very challenging, but at the end of the journey, you're going to be very proud of what you did. If you can have that little sense of pride from day to day and remind yourself when you're having a bad day that, hey, I know where I'm going. Like I'm not there yet, but I know that I'm on the right trajectory to that goal. If you can keep that in some part of your brain when you are training and you're experiencing difficulty, you're less likely to get derailed. And like we were saying a second ago with the community, if you put it out there, people can help you with that. But you should really lean into the fact that you're doing something that's very difficult, and you should have pride in the fact that you're doing something difficult, because most people avoid difficulty at all costs.
I'll finish by saying that, like what you are attempting to improve, patience itself is a skill in itself. So you're kind of, if you establish that goal, whatever it is, small, big, small or big, you're not only progressing as an athlete by taking the steps necessary to eradicate a specific weakness, but you are also, by doing that, inherently kind of practicing that patience, practicing the work ethic that is required to do that. And a lot of times with these things, regardless of what you're trying to get better at, it is about moving the average a little bit to the right. It's about putting in the time and thought, and not each individual session, or even, each week or each time you retest is going to be better or closer to the goal that you want. But you have to remember that the effort that you put in is dragging that average away from I'm not good at this to I am good at this. So it's just trying to kind of put things in that you have to be able to zoom in on kind of the individual nuts and bolts of the problem, but also take a step back and recognize that it's part of a larger journey forward, whether it's and that applies to whether it's the specific goal or just your overall development as an athlete. I think I bumblefucked my way through that, but hopefully you figured it out.
Tracking.
Okay.
You can head to etsy.com/misfit coach, and we have a nice barn board, meaningful hard work is patient on there. It's pretty sweet. No, we don't. Thank you so much for tuning into the episode, and thank you to our show sponsors. If you like our media, this is, the things that we're about to talk about with our sponsors. This is a way that you can support the podcast and support what we do, support the athletes that we sponsor. sharpentheaxeco.com. Use the code word Keala, Keala, to save 10% and to donate 10% to the Keala Foundation. Properfuel.co. Use the code word Misfit to save on your very first jug of proper recovery. PureSpectrumCBD.com. Use the code word Misfit to save on any and all orders. And the ultimate one, MisfitAthletics.com, the SugarWOD Marketplace, or TeamMisfit.com for your affiliate programming needs. As always, I'm at Misfit Coach on Instagram. Slide into those DMs. Let me know what you thought about this episode and what you'd like to hear next, and we'll see you next week.